Well, hello everyone in the School of Social Welfare. My name is Rick Gatto, and I'm the VP for Student Affairs and Dean of Students at Stony Brook. We are so glad that you, either as a grad student or undergrad student, selected Stony Brook as the next part in your journey. We are, again, part of the Division of Student Affairs here today, and we're going to share a little bit about the work that we do and how we support students. I have a couple of colleagues who have joined me in our conversation today. And I just wanted to share a little bit about, myself. I've been at the university for about 18 years now, and we absolutely love working with students. And our goal, again, is to see you be successful. Similar to your joining the School of Social Welfare, we too are part of what we view as a helping profession. And so we're just so glad to join you in that kind of work. So let me just pass it to Dr. Pessy to introduce himself, and then we'll go to Ellen Driscoll to introduce herself.
Thanks, Rick. Welcome, everyone. My name is Dr. Julian Pessier, and I am the Director of Counseling and Psychological Services, otherwise known as CAPS.
Great.
And hi, welcome and congratulations. I'm Ellen Driscoll. I'm part of the student support team in the Office of the Dean of Students.
Great. So what I'd like to do as we start today is share a couple of quick slides with you that I think depict a little bit about a visual of what I think an experience is like coming into a new environment. And so, I love this picture. I share this actually at every new student orientation because it shares the level of excitement of students coming to college or pursuing graduate studies. And that, we love to see that people, work towards their plan, towards the finish line. So going to the flag, which we view as graduation, is something that we all support you in achieving. But we know too, you see the reality part, and that there are often obstacles and challenges, unexpected situations that happen along the way. And our job is to support you in overcoming any of those challenges. And so whether it's COVID or other issues that are unexpected, we're here to work with you. And I always say to every student, don't let obstacles stand in your way. We're here to help you achieve the goals you've set for yourself. And so just wanted to share that one piece that we know, we're partners with you in this. And again, this actually is why it's so important, the work that you do, because ultimately after the hard work pays off, it's coming to graduation. And while we can't all be in Laval Stadium right now, given current circumstances, we want this picture to serve as a source of motivation for you, because the hard work you put in over the next few years will obviously allow you to don your red cap and gown and celebrate with your family members. So we are partners with you in your success. And this last slide I wanted to share, which is a little bit ironic, is a slide I've shared with many students at orientation. And if any of you have studied psychology before, you know this is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And part of the reason we share this with students is to explain the levels at which we work with students in their own growth and development. And so we know for a student to, even at the most basic level, be successful, they need basic things like food, clothing, shelter, safety. Those are really important aspects. And then we grow and build upon that with areas like leadership development, about providing opportunities for research, internships, other ways that you can kind of broaden your own experience. And that's something that's very important to us. But ironically, Wi-Fi has always been kind of the common joke that people, college students find Wi-Fi is the most important thing they need. And who could have ever thought that that is so true in the world we live in today? And that Wi-Fi, in fact, as we're doing on the Zoom call, serves as an incredible point of connection. And so we're grateful, actually, that we're allowed to be with you today to share this information, because it's important that you have this knowledge for you to be successful here at Stony Brook. But before I pass it to Julian and Ellen, I just did want to highlight a few of the other areas of student affairs that are important. And that is, we have a really robust career center that will engage with you during your time. If you're looking for internships or other work experiences, job opportunities post your degree, really important. We also have a very robust student life area of the university, in which we have 350 clubs and organizations, and we strongly encourage student engagement and involvement, because that's really where students find deep friendships and meaningful relationships. And so we encourage you to download what we call the Cork app, which is C-O-R-Q on the App Store. If you then search Stony Brook University and put in your net ID and password, That will link you to, again, all the events and activities happening on campus, either in person or virtually, as well as all the clubs and organizations. So those are just a few of the highlights I wanted to share about the work that we do. We also manage all the on-campus housing, as well as commuter student services. So again, lots of points of connection in terms of helping make your out-of-class experience as positive and memorable as possible. So having said that, let me now pass it to Dr. Pessier, who'll talk a little bit about our counseling office.
Great, thanks, Rick. Your reality slide reminded me of the slide with the plan versus reality reminded me of the last 4 months of our
right. It's true.
Of current times. Lots of big pitfalls.
Peaks and valleys for sure, and it changes every day. So
in talking about CAPS, if we were having our regular orientation, not in the times of COVID, I would be talking about how we are located. CAPS is located on West Campus on the 2nd floor of the Student Health Services building, and that we offer a range of really comprehensive mental health services: individual counseling, groups, mindfulness meditation. We have psychiatrists and nurse practitioners in psychiatry on staff who can do medication consultations and medication management. And this past March, when COVID reached that level that we needed for reasons of public health and safety, needed to confine ourselves and really, change our lives, CAPS quickly made the transition to telehealth services, in which students can engage in any of our services, but just either over the phone or over Zoom meetings like this. And the best thing normally in normal times, CAPS is also a just walk in when you would like to get started, because we're prepared to onboard students into whatever one of our services fits best, the same day a student walks in. That is the one thing that, until COVID reaches a much better place, that is the one thing that is very different right now about CAPS services. We need you to use our phone number, 631-632-6720. We are not doing our normal walk-ins, and we are hoping soon to have some face-to-face appointments again, but we are still doing most of our work over telehealth until we get into a safer place with COVID. And it really varies. Some students, because of privacy reasons, would prefer just the phone. Others prefer Zoom, and it really is about your preference. But you need to call us. And so if you call us, 631-632-6720, we will that day, all you have to do is say, I would like to speak to a counselor, and we will quickly take you through some initial questions and get you set up with the service that best fits your needs. And the one thing I want to say to you as a clinical psychologist welcoming you into the field of social work is that for those of us in the mental health field, services are so important, not just because of our human needs, but also because of all that we do for others. And especially during a time like this, some of your classes in the School of Social Work and some of your placements are going to bring some upsetting things up. And one of the most important things that a professor of mine told me in graduate school is more important than anything I would do in graduate school was getting help for myself so that I would know, at the time he said, what it's like on the other side of the couch. And so I think for the 20 years I've been at Stony Brook, one of the most important things that for social work students to know is, whether it's one time or whether it's a few months of meetings, coming to CAPS and getting help is an important part of both your personal and professional development. And we really look forward to being able to help you. We work so closely. I'm gonna have Ellen talk some more about the student support team, but particularly about how closely our offices work together for a long time, right, Ellen?
Yeah, for a long time. A really long time, which is good, which is also a good thing. I never appreciated the longevity of all of our staff here at Stony Brook until I'm on a search committee. And that's one of those questions that the incoming candidates ask, like, do people stick around here? I heard Julian mention 20 years. I've been a social worker here at Stony Brook for 25. So So we stick around because the work is good, but the students are the best. So, you know, we've been talking a lot with COVID and the pandemic about resiliency, and look at you, you're starting school in the middle of a pandemic. So congratulations. And we're here for you. To echo what Julian and Rick were talking about, the student support team is really just that. My mom asked me, what do you do at that job of yours? And I say, whatever the students need. But what you'll recognize it more is we're like a student assistant model, you know, a student assistant program. You'll see it when you get to school. They're beginning, people will talk about a lot of models in programming. Employee assistants have a program, a model, where they do some assessment for their people in need. They do some education, and they make referrals to friends like CAPS here on campus. So our students assistance program from the student support team is the same kind of thing. Like, we would like to, the tradition of the Office of the Dean of Students has always been, start here. Come here, we'll see if we can answer your question, we'll get you to the right place. That's what the student support team was. It was actually Dean Gateau who said, well, why don't you call it student support if that's what you do? So, so thanks for that, Rick. So that's what we do. So in terms of, God forbid there's some family emergency that happens, let us help you sort that out with your faculty members here on campus. God forbid you're sick for like a week or more, or have some goofy surgery because you fell off your skateboard, or those kinds of things that happen that kind of take you out of the classroom for a week or more. We get to work with you directly in your medical team to make sure that your professors know where you are, because it's enough stress. We're trying to reduce the stress that you already have while you're here at school instead of increase the stress. So I'm not a mother myself, but I'm an aunt. So I'm an aunt to all the Stony Brook students too. You know, you can call and say, help me out. Can you tell somebody this or tell somebody that? We try to do that through the student support team, to do those things and make the referrals where appropriate. Same thing, we're going remote. I'm in the office right now. We're housed in the Student Activities Center on the second floor. But I have to tell you, the suite is dark because we have these automatic lights. So every once in a while, I'm in the darkness outside my office. The building's closed right now, but we are ever hopeful that there will be opportunities for students to roam the halls again sometime. But like Julian said, it doesn't matter if you're here or there. We've had so much contact with students remotely. And as an older folk on this Zoom meeting, there was a time, I started in substance abuse prevention. There was a time when people started talking about doing AA meetings online and over the computer and having counseling remotely. And I couldn't really wrap my head around how that would work. The Zoom, being able to see each other, it's changed everything. And the student support team was gifted with the Student Emergency Support Fund, which is when the community here at Stony Brook came together in March, opened up their wallets, and started to put money into the hands of students here in need. And what that meant was the student support team got to call them and talk to them on Zoom and FaceTime. And we really, it was much more intimate, and Julian and Rick will attest to this too, much more intimate than I ever thought it would be. So you as social workers coming into a world where the tools that we have to reach out to the people in need are so much greater than they ever were before. It's very exciting. And so as a recipient of the tool, like Julian was talking about, and as a professional who may be using these tools down the road, let us help you persist on that bumpy, rocky road to graduation. We, you know, from the substance abuse field where I come from, we always say one day at a time, and we're just talking before about that's always been true, but never so true as it is during the pandemic. We're all learning lots of things about ourselves and about the community around us, and that's all social work stuff. So you're in the right place. We need you. So let us help you do your best while you're here at Stony Brook. Inside the classroom, you have all your academic help. Outside the classroom, you have Dean Gateau's leadership, which means we'll help you in whatever area we can help you in. So welcome.
Yeah, that's great. And actually, if I could ask Ellen and Julie just a question, you know, clearly in the times we're living in, obviously on COVID, you both highlighted examples where, you know, it's upended, you know, people's worlds. There's such a degree of uncertainty around things. I think it creates anxiety for people for obvious reasons. And then, you know, in national dialogues are on racial and social justice, as well as even, you know, sexual assault issues of concern on our campus and nationally. I'm just curious, you know, because these are some really heavy issues. And I'm wondering in conversation with students, you know, and I think true as a social worker in that world, these are really important issues where people want to see, I think, the world do better and be better in the work that we do. And I'm wondering, you know, kind of in your engagement with students, what are you hearing and what's your sense of how you provided guidance to students, you know, in some of those really, you know, challenging issues that we face, you know, at a local level and at a national level? That's a lot, I know.
They're starting class now, Rick.
Right. Well, but that's what we do. We're educators, so.
Absolutely. No, I love that question. You know, I'll answer that question and put it a little bit more in the context of specifically CAPS. CAPS is the place where everything you come and talk to your counselor about remains confidential. And that's one of the things that comes to my mind is the events of recent months, the murder of George Floyd. There can be the need to talk about some very, very difficult things that one is not necessarily sure or can talk to one's parents about, or be afraid to burden one's friends with it, or want to talk about some really dark times one is going through and want to talk about it without someone getting too concerned about them or worrying about burdening someone else. And so that's one of the things that is always the case at CAPS, that people can come for those really difficult conversations that they want to leave somewhere privately and confidential. And then during these last several months, we really see that at CAPS is a place where someone can talk through a really dark time or a really dark day or a loss, and then be able to, if they choose, go back and put game face on to go take care of their business in the world. So that's one of the things that Ellen was just mentioning, how much we love the work with students. And for me in my profession, that is just one of the most meaningful things to me, is getting to someone to, and this is the other thing students are telling me at this time, is if we have to go through all of these difficult times, we're going to learn as much as we can and gain as much as we can about how to make the world a better place. In other words, there are opportunities for making the world better during these very difficult times. And that's one of the most meaningful things to me at CAPS, is getting to help someone through their most vulnerable time and then help and get to witness them rediscover their strength and go and make an impact on others.
Well, very well said. Wow.
And I'm just going to throw in there, you'll get to this, but the micro, the meso, and the macro. And with the student support team, we're advocates for students. And when students come in with us and they have the issues that Dean Gateau is talking about, sometimes they need to be empowered. They need to connect with the other students on campus who have the same issues. If it's going to be a focus group, if it's going to be a new club or organization, that's part of, we don't only refer people if they need, you know, individual counseling or things. We get them connected with the other folks on campus who want to have a protest, who want to sit and talk to the dean, who want to go to the president's office, like to try to help them, educate them in what's the best way to talk about what's bothering us, or where you guys are a bunch of helpers. How am I going to best help? What's going to be my most efficient help? Because also social workers have a tendency to save themselves for last. So that's why we work so closely with CAPS, because we don't want any burnout. We want you to be the advocate. We want you to come forward. We want you to help empower yourself and the folks around you, and make sure you take care of yourself. So all of that gets covered with all the issues that Dean Gateau is talking about, and the ones that we don't even know yet that will be around the corner during your lifetime. So yeah, all of that we can help you with.
Great point. And this is really just incredible conversation. And maybe as we wrap up, just to kind of share some final thoughts, if we each have final thoughts. One is I always tell students, you know, it's really important in a new environment like Stony Brook, be a sponge, you know, absorb everything, you know, be this active learner, you know, engage and, you know, listen to different opinions, you know, formulate the leader you want to become, because ultimately the part of the work that I love doing, all of it, as we've kind of talked about our ages in these groups, where we're educating you as our students to be the next generation of leaders. And we know the world there's a lot of change and improvements that need to be made. And so we want to equip you with the tools and the skills to do that. But again, as we kind of said at the beginning, where there are bumps along the way where you need support, that's what we're here to do, because we are here to, to help pick you up if you fall down, and then keep you, work with you arm in arm to carry you to the finish line. I think that's our ultimate goal. And I think that, to me, I look at graduation day, and what I've always said to students is that the greatest, I would say the greatest statement you could ever say to yourself and would make the university proud is to look back on your experience at Stony Brook and say that you have no regrets, and that everything that you set out to do, you have accomplished. So, again, it's, take that time, your own mental health is the most important. And we've always said in our profession, student affairs, unless you're well yourself, you can't help other people. Or as it's been said many times, on the plane, if the oxygen mask goes down, you put it on yourself first before you help others. And I love that metaphor. So, but we, again, are just so happy that you are, joined our community. We are proud Seawolves, and we're so glad you're a Seawolf along with us. And remember, red on Fridays, got our pin. Any closing remarks you both want to share?
Our talk is reminding me of what we know, but for students who are new to Stony Brook, they may not know it yet. There is no wrong door in with any of our services. If the most comfortable place to come first is CAPS, but there's a way for Ellen and Student Support, or Student Health, or Center for Prevention and Outreach. Whatever door you walk in, we're going to help you with what we can help you with, and make your connection to another resource more seamless. So it's the same if you first go to Ellen or Student Support. We all work so closely together that you cannot walk in the wrong door, because if there's someone else that can help you, we're going to help you directly and get you to the additional resource as well.
Great.
And I'm just going to put our phone number out there. It's 631-632-7320. When we're remote, when you call that number, it goes right to the student support team email address, and you can leave your voicemail right there with us, and then we call you back. So we still use phones. They just use them a little bit differently now. But you can leave a phone message there, and or send an email. But you can find us on the Stony Brook website at Student Support Team.
Great. And I just want to add too, I share at the top that we are part of the Division of Student Affairs. And if you go to a Google search and just type Stony Brook Student Affairs, you will get our website, which actually has all of the links to every service and resource we offer within the division, which again includes CAPS and Student Support as key leaders in the work that we do. So
Rick, Ellen reminded me of something. So again, the CAPS number is 631-632-6720. When CAPS is closed, we're open, right now we're open, it's summer right now, 8 to 4. In the school year, it's 9 to 5. But when CAPS closes, our same number goes to a 24/7 counselor line. So if you ever, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, just need someone to talk to confidentially, there's always a counselor to speak to through our after hours line when CAPS itself is not open.
Great point. So I think we can say good luck, and we know you're going to be really successful at Stony Brook. And again, we are here for you along the way. And I'm just going to end by saying 2 words. Go Seawolves! All right. Best of luck, everybody.
Good luck. See you soon.